Previously, Nothrum left Loft's boat and ventured into the screaming jungle. Following Carxus's lead, they were able to avoid several worrisome creatures, and eventually they reached a stream that cut through the trees. It was too wide for them to easily get across, so Aerith asked Zero if he could use his boots to fly them over. He refused, earning him several curious and concerned looks, before Carxus shifted into his wolf form and carried everyone across the stream. After a few more hours of traveling, Carxus noticed a shimmer in the air. Loft quickly confirmed that it was a portal, but he didn't know where it would take them. The group decided it was better to take a chance and hope for the best, so they all went through it. On the other side of the portal, Aerith and Gwei immediately relaxed when they found themselves in a lair that, for the first time since they came to the Abyss, didn't feel evil. A very reluctant Loft explained to them that they were in Androlin, a lair of the Abyss that had been corrupted by Celestials and other such creatures that came to protect Eladrin, who had been tricked into coming there a long time ago. He didn't know much else. Just a few minutes later, a moondog started in Nothrum's direction. It howled, instantly stunning Loft, before coming up to the group and asking why they were traveling with something evil, when he could sense that they weren't evil themselves. The group explained that Loft had been their guide, but since he didn't know anything about the lair they were now on, he wasn't particularly useful to them anymore. The moondog wanted to kill him, but Aerith convinced him to send Loft back through the portal instead. The moondog introduced himself as Kuto, and he led the group towards the nearest village. On the way, they were joined by several Holophants that fawned over the good-aligned members of the group, but mostly ignored the more neutral ones. They asked Nothrum about Iridian, as they could tell that the items of his the group had on them belonged to someone who was very good. Once they reached the village, the group were led to a guest house where they could rest and get cleaned up. While there, Aerith tried to scry on Poppy again. When she looked in on her, Poppy was awake and sitting up, but she seemed disoriented and had bandages on her chest that were covered in bloodstains. Afterwards, Aerith used Greater Restoration on Zero, and he immediately had a talk with Zalor about his worries regarding how badly he was being affected by the Abyss. Ceres and Aerith had a somewhat tense talk of their own, while Gwei ignored everyone. After several hours, Kuto returned and took the group to meet their leader, who would be able to answer any questions they had. They were taken to a temple with stained glass windows for each of the good deities of Exandria. Inside was an ancient Chiron named Mira, who gave them a hero's feast and answered their questions. Aerith brought up the fact that they could use any help they could get, and Mira offered to try to bring their fallen friend back, because the Archheart would prefer his peace not be incomplete. The group immediately agreed. Arian, Aerith, and Gwei all took part in the ritual for true resurrection. Gwei, holding Iridian's holy symbol, tried to persuade him into coming back because Nothrum was better with him than without him. 25 for persuasion. Aerith used her hearth ability to grow oak trees around the altar before pouring out the acorns she'd made every night since Iridian died. She told him that he was the reason she'd changed druid circles. 23 for insight. Arian said that Iridian was his best friend, and he pulled out his pan flute to play the very first song that the two of them played together. 27 for performance. Light suddenly poured from the stained glass window of the Archheart and flew towards the trees that Aerith created. It got brighter and brighter and brighter, and then suddenly it was gone, leaving nothing but a naked, breathing green Aasimar in the middle of the oak trees. A very, very confused, naked, breathing green Aasimar as Iridian opened his eyes to find everyone staring at him, with the last thing he remembered being the fight they'd been in when he died. Arian explained that he had accidentally disintegrated Iridian during the fight, to which Iridian replied, "Okay," before pulling everyone in for a group hug. And that's where we left off.